started in the 2010 as I was really passionate about wines, and I grew up in a family that was involved in the wine sector. But my grandfather doesn't allow me to work on the wines. So I take a degree in political sciences, and I take all the tour of the world, trying to tasting the wines of Canada, of Australia, or of US, or of France. And then I was always asking which was the best wine for me. After a long tour in my business career, I decided to stop in 2015 and to concentrate myself only in wines. And so I started to produce what was really interesting for me. So my cantina grew up with the idea of producing something that was first interesting for me, considering all the tasting that you can find all over the world. So it was also interesting all over the world, but also trying to find something that is also interesting for me, respecting the vineyards, the grapes that are just on the backstage of me. The technology in the wine sector has cleaned a lot of defects inside the wines. So you now have wines that are so flat, so perfect. But in this way, you lose all the shadow of the grapes. So what I was interested in was in working on the shadows of the grapes. And when I started to concentrate on the orange wines, I thought, which is the best grape that I can use about that? And the best grape was Nuragus, that is a typical grape of Sardinia, but it has a lot of shadows because it is very close to Glera, so very close to Prosecco, very close to Ribolla Gialla. So you can have very standard or classical wine, but if you go deep inside the grapes, you can find a lot of shadows, and so you can have a lot of complexity. My idea of a wine is a red, heavy, great wine. And so I face to Amarone or Barolo or Super Tuscan. But as I born in Sardinia, the idea was to work on typical grape of Sardinia. So as I do with Jaffa, that is a very important, heavy orange wine of Sardinia, I also did the same with the red wines, like Chiaroscuro Red. There is let me say, a super Sardinian wine. So it has the complexity of Merlot, Cabernet, Pinot Noir, but there is not Merlot, Cabernet and Syrah or Pinot Noir inside the bottle. There are only typical grape of Sardinia. When I started producing wine, together with my wife, we decided that the wine was not only the thing, but was only a bridge to connect different things. So what we was willing to do was to talk about the complexity of Sardinia, and the wines was only an example to talk about music, literature, or also wines, but also culture. And what we try to show in our wines is all the complexity of our island.